is what happened!
Oh, yeah, baby, dude, here's what happened. Check out the flags on the mics. What do you know about that? A little DIY. I don't have money or sponsors, so I got to do everything myself. But we're back, baby. We're back at the same place where I podcasted with Ryan. Still not friends with him.
Still smells like him.
It does. You're not supposed to talk yet. I haven't introduced to you. People don't know who you are. They're a little bit alarmed right now. They're maybe even triggered. Okay. All right. So this is Chris Snyder, the one and only Chris Snyder, the founder, president, CEO, big man on campus, idea guy of Sad Team 6, a lovely nonprofit organization I just happen to be a part of as well.
Thank you.
And we're going to get into that in just a little bit, but first we're gonna talk about some things that happened this week that I think we need to talk about. We were talking about it, and I said, why am I not recording this? What's going on? So, Chris,
man,
you and I, we've known Marty Malloy for a while now.
Yeah.
And the first time I saw Marty perform stand-up comedy, I said, oh my gosh, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Where did he come from? And they definitely broke the mold after they made him. There is no other Marty Malloy in the world.
No.
There's no one he can be compared to. He is Marty, and that is it. And he was on Kill Tony this past week, and it was the Martiest thing I have ever seen in my entire life, and I could not have been more delighted. I said, like, the first time I saw him, I go, we have to get this guy to Austin, Texas, because he will be a golden ticket winner.
And he got there.
Unbelievable. If you haven't watched Marty Malloy on Kill Tony, or he went by Martin Malloy, which he's Marty. Okay.
Marty.
He even said at the beginning of the set, hi, I'm Marty. But check it out. The guy is an unbelievable comedian, absolutely insanely talented, fast-paced. If you didn't like that joke, don't worry. There's another one that he already told while you were thinking about the fact that you didn't like the last one.
While you were laughing at the last one.
But yeah, you're not gonna not like the one before that. It's incredible. I've never seen anything like it. And when you're doing comedy and stuff like that, and you're doing, stuff on the internet, people will get opportunities and stuff. And it's a tendency, I think, of all human beings to either be jealous of that person or to try and attach yourself to that person somehow and be like, oh, I got him to do this or that, or we've been boys forever or whatever. And with Marty, there's none of that.
Nope.
Like, I could not have been more happy for him.
I really enjoyed the social media posts from every comedian, like in our little circle, and I saw comedians from Columbus to Cleveland, and everybody was making their own post, not just liking Marty's post, but dropping a story that was, if anybody had this comment, it was Marty. If anybody earned it, it was Marty. We were fortunate enough to have Marty on a Sad Team 6 comedy show. He was amazing, as he always is. That was a tough week for him, too. That was the week that it was, his birthday, and the car got stolen.
Yeah, I think so. Or it was shortly after all that.
It was birthday, then his car got stolen. Then he did he did not have a car to get to the Sad Team 6 show. So I got him an Uber. I had to have him at the show. So I got him an Uber, and I think Michael got him home. Michael Chiselka, a very good comedian.
Another legend.
Legend. And Michael got him home. But he did a fundraiser, like a GoFundMe, for the damage that was done to his car after it was stolen. And he had raised more money than was needed to fix the car. So he took that money and divided it up amongst a few nonprofits and charities and he ended up giving money back to Sad Team 6. So that's the kind of guy he is. He's close. I mean, that's a guy that I'll always want to see succeed. He's a good man who's also very funny. Yeah, it was awesome. I couldn't wait to see it. I was so excited that he got the golden ticket, and I hope that this just unlocks so many doors for him. Honestly.
I don't see it not. Like you could see the panel immediately fall in love with him.
Yeah.
The crowd immediately fell in love with him, and like you and I have seen Marty a lot, and that guy, I think I counted once, and he's about like 10 jokes a minute.
He's fast.
He had a 1 minute set. He got 3, maybe 4 jokes in.
Yeah.
Because they were laughing so hard and cheering that he had to wait for them to calm back down so that he could go.
I was so enjoying that.
And I was like, that's our guy right there. There's the pride of Cleveland, Ohio out there on display in front of millions of people that are going to see it. I've been enjoying watching his follower count on Instagram.
Yeah, it's skyrocketed. I enjoyed, I mean, other than, we have the insight on, we've seen so many of Marty's great jokes. Like, my thing was I didn't get enough Marty. Like, there wasn't enough of him doing his material. But I get it because he's so charismatic and he draws you in.
And how cool was it seeing Brian Redband be like, yeah, I remember when you were on Opie and Anthony that one time. It was hilarious.
Yeah. So
which is just cool.
That was his he had a stage name. He went by Schizo Bill. He's a schizophrenic, bipolar schizophrenic. And that doesn't stop him in the least. He captured lightning with his condition, and he took the funny and inserts it in that. And yeah, part of the funny is his flat affect.
Yep.
But I mean, he writes those jokes. We've all watched in the comedians, I hesitate to roll myself in with the comedians, but
you're a comedian.
He is a comedian's comedian. Like when you're doing time somewhere and Marty comes in, you're excited.
Yeah.
You're like, Marty's here. Like, you're going to laugh. And it's selfish. It's so selfish. But every time he's on stage, I lose it.
Well,
and in the best of ways.
He's an anomaly too, because often,
you know what else he is? He's something like a phenomenon.
So there's that. But he's an anomaly because normally, a little industry talk here. When you're in the biz of stand-up comedy, open mics, when you hear someone described as a comics comic, if you ever hear yourself described as a comics comic, slap whoever said it, because normally a comics comic means all the comics like them, but the crowd doesn't really get it exactly. But Marty is a fan favorite and a comics comic.
Gotcha.
And he's just like,
no insult intended, Marty.
No, I know. But he just like, so often I think of the people that I'm delighted to see on stage, and it's either someone who is just like unhinged, or it's someone who is just like, I don't care if they laugh at this. I think this is funny, so I'm going for it.
So like some of our favorite like absurdist comedians.
Yes.
That make all of us laugh and leave the crowd looking with, what would we say, mouths agape.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things.
Who we're talking about.
Yeah, I would think, I'm trying to think, I would say like Brian Holtzman is probably like that with the scenes that he was running in back at the store and stuff. Like, he comes out and he says some stuff that you go, whoa. And then you look at all the other comedians and they're going, Holtzman. So
my favorite absurdist right now is Gabe, is our buddy Gabe.
Yeah, Gabe LeVictor. We'll have him on the pod eventually. That man,
every time Gabe takes a stage, I lose it. And I've borne witness to the shows where they don't know what to make of him. And then there's those magical nights where they get it, like the crowd gets it, and when you get his comedy, it is, look, it's wholesome in this funny sense, but it's just silly. And we need more silly. We need more silly in this world. You got room enough for serious everywhere. And Gabe brings love and silliness.
His brain is truly unique. His style is unique.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is
100 years ago they'd have tried to treat him with leeches.
Yeah. The only other person I've seen, at least around here, that is anywhere near the same like mental plane as Gabe was our late buddy Andrew, who just like
the urge to burge.
They were best friends from like 4 years old, and they just like were on the same wavelength. And my favorite thing to do was to watch Gabe while sitting by Andrew, especially the stuff that people weren't picking up on right away, like his joke about having a recurring nightmare and all that stuff. Like I won't spoil the joke and everything, but I'm watching everyone go like this. They're going, and Andrew is stomping both of his feet on the ground, leaning back and forth, dying laughing at the top of his lungs. Only person in the building, and it just absolutely delighted me. And I was like, I love this so much. And unfortunately, we lost Andrew last year. He would have been a great person to have on the podcast to try and introduce to the world. But there's a lot of his stuff that is online that we try to put out and share that with everybody, because
he was getting so creative with the songs.
I remember the characters.
The first time I heard the fast food song,
mm-hmm.
I walked in and I hadn't been around you guys for a minute. I was on one of my hiatuses, and as soon as I walked in, they said, "Oh, you're in for a treat. Andrew's doing the song tonight." And I was like, "Finally!"
Mm-hmm. And you can look it up online. Andrew Burge.
It was very clever.
There's it's not safe for like family events. But it's a pretty fun loving song about how he has a hard time losing weight because he has some infatuations with the mascots from the fast food restaurants. And I'll leave it at that, and I'll let Andrew do the rest. But anyway, so that's what we've had going on here lately. So let's get right into this thing. Obviously, Chris and I have spent a fair amount of time together. We've road tripped to various states and various events. We've been in this position
before for a lot longer.
We have, and we did well with it. So just to kind of get everyone to know the man behind the organization a little bit, I got some questions here.
Yeah.
So to start off, just a couple of questions. One, do you ever find yourself incredibly jealous of my beard? Second question, why was the first answer yes? Go ahead.
I think it's no.
All right. Well, we don't need to hear the rest of it, but so we know what the real answer was. And one day he'll be able to admit it to himself, but it's something that you got to work at day in and day out.
Okay. I'll try and put forth a little more effort.
Next question. Do you hate Ryan as much as I do?
No. I mean, look, I think last time we talked about this, you gave Ryan a 1 star.
I doubt it.
I dislike him less than you dislike him.
Okay.
I don't know the value. I think
I dislike him infinity.
You dislike him
times 10.
I think I dislike him with the standard unit of measurement, but I think you dislike him using the metric system.
Well, and it's not that I don't like Ryan. I just can't stand his personality and the way he looks and the way he talks and how he sounds.
See, it's just his face for me.
Okay, well,
it's very punchable.
Shout out Ryan Rogers. If you haven't watched the episode, Ryan is not my friend. Go ahead and check that out. Don't tell him I said this. I'm kidding, of course. I'm friends with Ryan, but don't actually let that get out. We don't want people to give him anything he doesn't deserve. So let's do a little word association here to see how your brain's working. I'll say one word, and you say what immediately comes to your mind.
Okay.
Pizza.
Krauses.
Chicken.
So wings.
Chocolate.
Ice cream.
6.
7.
You don't get it. You're too old.
I'm too old.
Me, I don't. I believe it originated with a drill rapper named Skrilla in K&A in Philly. And kids just decided no one knows what it means. And I heard him say what it means, and I'll be honest, I still don't know what it means.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
Wasn't a super clear answer. Shout out Skrilla and K&A. So
that run by my window was very close.
Yeah, we maybe we should fold the mirrors in. It is a big car, and I know that people are.
Shout out to this roller skate we're sitting in.
Yeah, this is the Chevy Sonic Studio, and as it was, I think I mentioned this last week. As it's getting warmer out, my girlfriend actually has a very, very nice Lincoln, and she said, it's getting hot. You should probably do some of these in the Lincoln. And I said, oh no, my dear,
no.
That is too luxurious and too fancy. And
maybe hire a kid to run a vacuum through this thing, though.
No, and just ignore the Walmart bag you can see behind my shoulder that I just realized is there. That's my work clothes from today. So, because some of us have hardworking jobs where we have to immediately shower afterwards.
The dash of this car looks like there's a dryer vent that exits on top of it.
Well, yeah, I have to. That helps with the acoustics in here. That's part of the
sound deadoning material.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, I'm a drummer, and a lot of drummers,
sound deadening material.
A lot of drummers, they don't like to clean their cymbals right before they're going to record or play a show or whatever, because it could alter the sound of the cymbal. Same thing with the dash of this car. Yeah, the windows are down, and there's a lot of background noise, and there's children screaming at each other while they ride their bikes and stuff. Yeah. But
that's all part of the.
We can't get rid of the dust.
High quality podcast.
Exactly, and that's exactly what we bring you at. Dude, here's what happened. So, moving on, we put out a video on a TikTok page that I think we've since abandoned completely. Back when we were on a road trip once, and I'd like to issue that challenge once again here for the Dude, Here's What Happened listeners. There's a tongue twister, and it goes blue glue gun, green glue gun. Now you have to say that 3 times fast.
I do remember doing this.
Go ahead. What do you got?
Hold on. Say it again.
Blue glue gun, green glue gun.
I don't think. All right. And I have to do it fast. And how many repeats? 3?
3 times. Yep. All right. 3 times.
Blue glue gun, green glue gun.
That's not even.
Blue glue gun, green glue gun. Blue glue gun, green glue gun, blue glue gun.
Watch and learn, sir. Yeah, okay. I've been working on this for a year since we were rehearsing. Okay. How now, Bronco? Okay.
Onomatopoeia.
Blue glue gun, green glue gun.
That's not very fast.
Blue glue gun, green glue gun. Blue glue gun, green glue gun. Blue glue gun. See, the thing about it is you can't do it where people are panicking because they will think that you're having a stroke.
Especially in this park-like setting.
Yeah, and we're trying to pretend like there's not people milling around this parking lot right now going, what in the world are they doing in there? And
fans
I hope that camera is not pointed towards us, actually. And it's not, but they'll never know because they're not going to watch this. So let's see. We got...
That's funny.
We got bogeys. Hang on. We got bogeys flanking the right side of the studios right now.
That's great.
So, yeah, thanks a lot. Whole jerk family.
They're
trying to
still
ruin
sorting
my
it.
production.
Don't.
And they're just looking back here. And you know what? If they knew the power that I hold in this microphone and this podcast, where I have 22 Spotify followers.
Ooh.
That depend on me to bring quality premium podcasts on a weekly basis. I wanted to take a day. I couldn't. The outcry was ridiculous. The last episode on Spotify,
clamoring for more.
4 listens already. It's only been out for almost an entire week. I mean, watch out, Rogan.
Coming for you, dude.
Dude, here's what happened. That's where everyone's going to be. That's where everyone's going to want to be. And that's what we're going to... Sometimes I start to say something, and then I just decide...
Your brain betrays you?
I shouldn't. Yeah, I realized I almost did a direct Michael Scott quote right there, but was legitimately meaning it as I was saying it. The part where he's like, sometimes I'll start a thought with no idea where it's going. And I'll find it along the way. I do that too, but I never find it.
It just gets lost in it. It's like that one sock that never comes out of the dryer.
It's true. I put a lot of thoughts into the dryer.
Into the thought dryer.
Of life.
Round and round they go.
So, okay. So let's go ahead and get into this a little bit. Just in, let's say 2 words or less. Describe to me what Sad Team 6 is. 2 words or less. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, there's one.
Comedic healing.
That was 3 words, but we'll allow it.
Comedic healing.
But you said okay first, so
that was me in a response to your question.
Well,
find me.
I will. See, I always ask myself when someone asks me a question, I ask, what would Jesus do? And Jesus usually answered a question with a question, which is very fun if you've ever tried that before.
I do that a lot.
So anyway, there's our Bible lesson of the week. And so comedic healing is what we're talking about. You just locked the studio on accident. There's not a lot of room in here.
I love how your big bear paw just locked the whole car with a accidental motion.
You know, it's funny. I've seen some podcasts where they have multiple camera angles and they put them together like on a green screen so it looks like people are that close.
Yeah.
We're just actually that close, which is fun. This is a whole car.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's a half car, but we're filling the whole half car. So it's real close to afternoon meds time for ADHD. But we're going to power through and see what happens. So, comedic healing, you were saying. So, tell us a little bit about your background professionally.
I was a career firefighter. I started, I've always been a Ohio kid, grew up, raised, lived in Stark County, Ohio my whole life. Started as got my first job as a paramedic, and then with a volunteer fire department, and then with the city of Canton. I had a good run. I had about 20 years of service in emergency medicine and as a firefighter. A little over 20 years, but now this. That time is behind me. Thanks for the delicious dirty Mountain Dew, by the way. That was good.
You're welcome. Okay, so and that reminds me, the volunteer firefighting. Before we hit record, you were saying that something about volunteer firefighters are kind of like wimps and they're not real. And what
Never
were you
said
saying about
that? You're trying to get me in all kinds of business.
this is a hit piece. This whole podcast is a hit piece. I'm trying to get them good old boys of the volunteer fire departments after you.
So listen.
Those are some hosses in those places.
Yeah, there are some country fed biscuit eating boys. I don't want that smoke. No, I'm fighting for them because I was fortunate to be a part of the union, and I had a suicidal episode. I was diagnosed with PTSD, major depressive and anxiety disorder. And they had a facility called the Center of Excellence where I was able to go get care. And that was a place that was exclusively for union firefighters. But with the nonprofit, and when I started healing out loud and carrying a conversation about what had happened to me in an effort to prevent somebody else from going through it, I started meeting people that were EMTs, paramedics, working for volunteer departments. And then I started talking to law enforcement officers and dispatchers and corrections and military friends that are both veteran and active duty. And so now the mission is to get help for anybody that's willing to take an oath and protect you from the ickies and the uglies that life has to offer. And whether that's our military brothers and sisters that are shipped overseas to do that, or here, or the people that keep the baddies away from us, and the people that protect our loved ones and our health and our property. Like, they need care when it comes to it. When one of the coolest things I heard recently was post-traumatic stress is not a uncommon reaction. It's a normal reaction to uncommon situations. And the men and women that are first responders and veterans are faced with continuous a battery of all the things that life has to throw at us that are ugly. Death is hard, and we are subject to a lot of it, and it carries a lot of weight. And at some point, you can't carry the weight anymore. So we use humor, we use dark humor, we use comedy to start the conversation and say that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to get help. It's okay to ask a bro for help. We're big on peer support and buddy checks. Reach out to your buddies, even if it's with an insult. Send a text that just says, "I just took a massive do and I thought about you because it looked a lot like you." Because as bros, we're like, "Oh, he was thinking of me." That's kind of like, I think sometimes when a guy sends you a picture of his work when he's done with it, that's like sending a bouquet of flowers. I made this and was thinking of you.
It's aromatic.
It's very aromatic, yeah.
And it's each one is unique. It's like a snowflake.
They are like snowflakes.
There's no two turds that are exactly the same.
No.
And, that's the important values we look to instill in the hearts and minds of Americans and people abroad at SAD Team 6, is that turds are unique every time. And you should cherish every single one.
Share your turds with a bro.
Yeah, but not physically, but like just, that reminds, oh my gosh, I don't know how I forgot this. I was driving here on the highway. I saw a state vehicle of some variety, and someone had taken one of those blue dog poop bags with poop in it and stuck it in their rear windshield wiper, and they didn't see it. And they're just driving down the highway with a bag of poop hanging off their back.
That's not very nice. They didn't deserve it.
Oh, it's very funny. That's so funny.
Look, I've done 10 minutes of poop is funny comedy.
I was so excited when I saw it. I was like, there's poop in that bag. That's what that is. At first I thought it was like some sort of like some people don't take the packaging off of their
Yeah.
windshield wiper blade or whatever. I was like, what is that? It's blue.
What'd it be?
Well, that's a bag of turds. And I was absolutely,
give this to the state.
I was so happy. Well, that's what government kind of deserves sometimes. And I think of that a lot when I'm driving the turnpike, and I go, this was never supposed to be a permanent paying situation.
Yeah, they got us good there.
Yeah, for some reason, even though we pay every time, it's never done, and it's always under construction, and there's only one lane open, and it's actually faster to not take
after
it.
this year, I've driven all around the country in the last 2 years, and we do have some. We are not nice roads.
No.
Did you see how I just stopped?
That was good.
Uh-huh.
That was good. But we're trying to be as family friendly as possible, even though it's a heavy, topics.
I stopped my potty words.
He did, and we're proud of him for it.
Look, I can do it.
Shout out Mama Snyder and your no-bake cookies. So
she's going to be on our TikTok live next week.
Nice.
Mama Snyder will be a guest.
Nice. So before I so rudely interrupted to tell a story about the poop bag, we were talking about sending pictures of dumps to our friends.
Yeah.
Which is
basically a buddy check.
Very important.
Do buddy checks. That's what.
Do buddy checks. Check on your buddies. And obviously, I was kidding. He did not say anything bad about volunteer firefighters. And it's awesome that one of the things SAD Team 6 is doing is opening up resources to those guys. Because if you think about it, they should have access to some of the best resources, because these are guys that are doing this in addition to their full-time workload and all that stuff. Not that, other guys aren't working jobs outside of the fire department or whatever. But I remember I knew a volunteer firefighter back home who he had his business was kind of out in the country. And I believe it was a fatal crash that he heard. Either he heard the crash or he heard it come over his pager, and he was just happened to be there, and he ran to that crash before anyone even had gotten emergency personnel there. And he was able to hold this young person as they breathed their last breaths and just be there for support.
Yeah.
Which is
traumatic.
A nice thing. But yeah, for him to, then the temptation, I think, is to suppress that and push it down deeper.
Yeah, because, as bros, as dudes, I can't speak for the ladies because I wasn't raised one, but as a young man, I was taught to walk it off, rub some dirt on it. Don't be a sis,
Yep.
Just tough through it. We don't talk about it. We tough through it. Emotions are for baby showers, right?
And I heard someone say one time, they were talking about their significant other is a firefighter. You probably know what I'm talking about. Their significant other is a firefighter, Marine. And, this person was going through some things emotionally with the job. And she said, I can't put that on him. He's got his own things that he's looking at. And also mentioned, it's tough for people in that line of work where it's they feel like they can't put that on other people because they were trained for it, and a civilian not necessarily, and they feel like putting that burden on regular people is something that they don't want to be responsible for creating havoc in that person's mental health or whatever. Which is a very considerate way to think, I think, but also I think it's underestimating two things. I think it's underestimating the power of getting things off your chest, and underestimating the ability of the people around you that love you to be able to absorb some of those blows to kind of help you.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And yes and no. So you need to be able to talk about those things with someone that understands them.
Well, yeah.
The way that you talk around people that are in your very inner circle of in a fire department, dark humor is there. Dark humor is present. from all my conversations with the people I know from law enforcement and military backgrounds, it's very similar. But that's not appropriate at the kitchen table. And a lot of times there's frustration in trying to explain something when the person receiving that message has more questions because they don't understand the things that led to that. Their questions are about things that you're not even trying to talk about, but also,
or maybe they're just trying to wrap their head around what it is so they can understand what you're saying.
But for a lot of guys, it feels like you're showing weakness, and that feels like a terminal illness when you start showing emotions and weakness. But I think another thing to add to that is don't ask first responders or what's the ugliest thing you've ever seen? What's the worst thing you've ever seen? It's a horrible question to ask somebody. What you're asking them to do is bring up the most horrendous thing they've lived through. And if they're not in a place to have that conversation, that's something that you're asking for a casual party story. And that's the worst thing that's ever happened to them.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys, that's something they will now think about for 5-6 more days. Even if they didn't tell you the real thing, that's probably the thing they're going to have a nightmare about that night.
Yeah.
So just keep that question, roll it up tight, and shove it up your jean pocket.
Yeah, and that was good too.
Pulled the shoot late on that one.
And I think I think this is essentially what you were saying, but you're in asking for essentially a good story or whatever. You're asking someone to relive a trauma. Yeah.
Very much.
And that's crazy if you put that in everyday life and other situations. Like, you wouldn't walk up to someone who just like lost a child and be like, so what was the worst part about it?
Exactly.
Like, you would never think to do that. And I think most of the time that's an innocent, like, it is ignorance and innocence at the same time.
It's perfectly summed up between ignorance and innocence.
I don't mean anything by it,
they
but
don't. You can't imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Most people that haven't walked that life can't imagine the horrors of sights, sounds, sights, smells, and screams of what these careers deliver. The worst possible things that a human can do to another human, and especially when they're a defenseless human, however you want to take that. But they're just not stories meant for euchre night. They're just not meant for, oh cool, I met you, entertain me, dance for me with your trauma.
Right.
Yeah. Ask about the funny stuff. We got funny stories for days. Ask the poop stories.
Yeah.
Endless poop stories. So many poop stories.
Yeah. And that was the other thing I was going to add to that. If you ask first responder or a veteran or anyone in that kind of line of work what the nastiest thing they've ever seen is, I guarantee you don't want to hear the answer, because I've heard some nasty things and I'm sure it's not the nastiest things. And I'm good because I've dealt with nasty things in my life. I was a juvenile corrections officer for 5 years. I had to do cell searches every day. Disgusting, gross. Yeah. And I picked nits out of people's hair. I had someone look up during a pat down who had long flowing hair. I said, look up, as I'm waving the metal detector over them. And they looked up like this, and their hair landed all the way on top of my head. And then I found out they had lice. And I about lost my mind, because it doesn't matter how many people check you and tell you don't have it. The fact that I said the word lice, every one of you is itching your head right now. You're welcome. So just imagine if you were that close to it. But
feeling a little sensitive about that right now.
Yeah, it was pretty gross. So also just one thing,
looking to see if anything moves about in that
beard. The one thing I wanted to add to that is, so my dad is a pastor and he is a trained counselor. He does a lot of counseling sessions with people that he doesn't charge anything for. He's just he's there to be someone to listen, and he's my person that I can talk to, that I could tell him literally anything, and I know that he is not going to blink or flinch, and he's going to try and talk me through it. And it's so important to find your person that's like that.
Yeah.
And he refers to that as a lightning rod, which I think is a great way to put it. Because like if you're, a guy and you're going home and you're really, let's say you're just working a regular job, you're upset with everything at work, and you come home and you start just going and going and going and going and going on it, talking to your wife, there's a chance that she's going to be like, I'm sorry, I didn't do any of that to you. I don't. And so a lightning rod,
take it home.
A lightning rod is someone is not going to be affected or hurt by it or take offense to something or feel like you're yelling at them or whatever. And you can like zap that lightning rod so it doesn't strike the people that you care about.
Clergy is a good spot for that. Your faith leader, a trusted peer support person. I say trusted because this needs to be somebody that you can share that information with. And that's something that's not a haphazard relationship. That's somebody you know very well. You know their demons, they know yours. And professional counselor. But make sure you have your P's and Q's in order before you go talk to them. Know who you're talking to. And for a lot of people out there, it's the right, make sure you look into what the mandatory report laws are in your state before you go confessing things to a counselor or a clergyman that may have to report them. I'm not saying it doesn't need reported. I'm not saying you maybe don't need to step up and take accountability, but don't get surprised by things going to see professional help. I've heard a lot of guys that are on the very backside of healing get their ankles clipped with some stuff like that. So it's about getting guys well. Mental health is a serious problem. Drug addiction and alcohol addiction is a serious problem among these guys and ladies because that's how they numb the noise. Yeah. So you turn the nightmares down. I was fortunate that wasn't something that happened to me. I was a nightmare person. I had nightmares for about 10 years, and I would sleep 3 to 4 hours a night for a decade. And I was fortunate enough to learn about the stellate ganglion block, an injection that resets your sympathetic nervous system. And that changed a lot for me. I've slept ever since. It's helped a lot of people. It's something SAD Team 6 is fundraising to help other first responders and veterans get that treatment. There's other organizations doing it, and they're all just trying to get as many people the help that they can get. Actually, I got cool news about that. I'm going to be in Maryland to see. I recently was talking to a young man that's in a different state. I got a call from somebody that he knew, and I know that person very well. And they said, listen, I need you to get on the phone with this guy. And it was late. I was in that phase of I've been trying to put in my own boundaries, but something really said, take this one, and took that call and talked to that young man for a couple hours. And got a little ray of sunshine pushed into him, and he made it home that night and got scheduled for an SUB injection, and he's getting it in June, and I'm going to get to meet him. And then the day after, 2 very close friends of mine get get their injections. Very excited about that.
And that's an awesome thing that SAD Team 6 is doing is, it's a cool enough thing to say like, hey, we're an organization that is, we're raising money and we're raising awareness of this thing that's going on. But SAD Team 6 is very blessed to have a very cool thing that we're doing, and that is we're raising money to directly get these people the help that they need to sponsor these injections
Yep.
And this is no fly-by-night weird, like holistic or whatever thing going on. This is a legitimate doctor who specializes in this.
Yeah, we have a memorandum of understanding with Dr. James Lynch. He has a tremendous website that can answer a lot of questions if you're interested or just want to. If you're grinding your teeth right now, rebuking what I'm saying, my entire argument is what is his website. So save yourself that time and energy and read his frequently asked questions. But incredible resource to those that need it. And it's not just for first responders and veterans. It is incredible at treating trauma. He's done a lot of. I think it's 13 is the age that he can do this procedure on young people. You can understand for yourself why they may have traumas, and the most amazing thing is that these are people that won't have to carry that trauma for decades. This gives them a head start into healing that trauma and giving them a chance at that kind of cognitive freedom from those traumas. But it's a good thing.
Yeah. And so, like you said, a legitimate doctor, legitimate practice, legitimate website, a legitimate procedure. Because, some of these things, sometimes they seem like something you can go buy at a gas station or whatever, and it's like some weird thing. It's not that. Like, it's a legitimate thing.
Right.
And, I think these are the type of resources that need to be available to people, because if you care about someone getting better, you want them to have the opportunity to do so.
Absolutely.
And I think too often, and I think sometimes, like I'm I'm 38, and I catch myself being like, kids these days just a bunch of little wimps, and they can't even do this. Now, back in my day, we didn't have no air conditioning in the schools and whatnot and all that stuff. And it's like, yeah, okay, well, that made you miserable.
Yes.
So why would you not want things to be getting better for future generations?
Yes. I know exactly where you're at with that.
And
a lot of guys that are like, it was awful when I got hired, and it sucked for me, so it should suck for you.
Yeah.
And we got to get away from that.
That's not the case. But there's things you can make terrible for the young guys.
There are whole new problems that this generation has to worry about. Let them have those problems.
Yeah, let them struggle with.
No reason to pass them on.
Put the icy hot in their underwear. Let them struggle with that.
That's going to catch you some hands.
But don't expect them to just legitimately. We're talking life and death with some of this stuff, and to just be like, well, suck it up. I did. Yeah. Okay, well, you're lucky to be the age that you are, because you were able to handle that. And not everybody's built the same way. Not everybody's brain synapses fire the same way. Trust me. I have ADHD. My brain doesn't work like anybody's brain, and it doesn't make any sense to anybody ever, including me.
Was I supposed to argue that point?
No, I don't know where I was going, because my brain doesn't work like anybody else's brain.
I thought you were looking for me to be like, oh, no, there, big guy. Everybody understands you.
No, it's just one of those situations where I thought I was going to find it along the way, and I didn't. And I didn't know how to jump off of that.
Just keep swimming.
Yeah, pretty much. So, anyway, it's called a stellate
ganglion block.
You can just call it an SGB injection. It's much easier. Exactly. And like in the simplest terms possible, you correct me if I'm wrong. I believe I heard one of you guys say before, essentially what it like resets a fight or flight response.
Correct.
And that does wonders for things like night terrors,
anxiety, nightmares. It's very big for anxiety. But the sleep, hypervigilance is a very big one that people, especially in the first responder community, veteran community, they suffer a lot with that hypervigilance. But it doesn't take away your vigilance. That's what usually one of the first concerns of a lot of guys is. I need to be able to protect my family. I need to be able to react on a moment's notice. You will. and you will with a clear mind.
And that's the difference.
It's just that cool thing that somebody said that gets circulated around. It's like before the injection, it was like there's 9 windows open, and I don't know where the music's coming from. The stellate ganglion block is Control-Alt-Delete for that noise. It's just a reboot. It puts it to sleep for a couple hours. You take a nice nap, you wake up, and you're like, let's get to living. But now it doesn't work for everybody because some people are extra special. But give it a look. Look it up for yourself. Make an informed choice. Ask questions about your health, especially your mental health.
And that was the other thing I was going to tag on to that is we work with Dr. Lynch on this stuff. We're not sending people to get injections. We're sending people to speak with the doctor to see if it's something that he thinks is okay or going to work for them.
If somebody, the people we've helped thus far have come to us with questions about it, we'll answer every question we can. But again, we constantly say what we need you to do is reach out to Dr. Lynch and schedule a conversation with him. They have an online intake form. They are very responsive. They will explain the procedure to you much better than I ever could. And from there, then when they say, listen, this is something I'd really like to do, and when I can afford it, I'm going to go do it. And when we have the money, we're sponsoring them to get that injection with Dr. Lynch. We haven't quite got to the place where we can start paying for travel yet, but that's what we're after. We're a baby of an organization. We have not been around very long. We're infants, but we enjoy doing the comedy. We enjoy the fundraising, and we enjoy seeing the people it helps. So we're going to keep at it.
And so the comedy aspect of it is where I kind of come into the equation. I've never worked as a first responder, done any kind of military service, anything like that. But I can say from doing these comedy events and stuff, if you've ever done any kind of like team sport or anything like that, you can kind of understand the camaraderie that these guys have.
Yep.
And honestly, it feels great to see that like at a show where there's guys just busting each other's chops, in good fun, making fun of each other, smacking each other, and there's no shortage of mustaches at a Sad Team 6 show, which is always fascinating to look at.
We should have a door prize for best mustache.
We really should. And
I'm gonna put T on that.
Okay. And that it's a lot of fun. And like you were talking about earlier, like the gallows humor, the dark humor is a way that people in very high stress environments, dangerous environments, mentally jarring environments will often fall back on like the dark humor because it's like, if I don't laugh, I'm going to cry. I'm going to lose my mind. And I saw that with, I lost a nephew at a very young age. And it was not sudden. It wasn't quick. It was a long process. And I saw the toll that it took on his parents, who were two saints. And every now and then they'd let their hair down and they would say something. I would go, and they're like, listen, if we don't laugh about it, it's going to destroy us.
No, and see, there's a beauty in it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are times where it is used as a sword and a shield, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are times where it's used as a crutch, and that's when your mind is asking for help. But in that same breath, if the men and women that take those oaths are willing to use stand-up comedy, we're saying we're willing to use it to start the conversation and say, look, yeah, we laugh at that stuff too. But it's also okay to use that as the gateway to conversation, that it's okay to not be okay. And it's okay to ask for help.
And then to break it down to even...
Break it on down.
I will. to break it down to even more like plain and simple than that is just like the whole reason I started stand-up comedy is because I was going through stuff that had me stressed out, depressed. I was on various medications. I was at the worst point of my life. I've never been in a situation where I thought that I wanted to end things. But I have been in the position where nice little e-bike noise there in a serious moment. Just, just to keep it fun. We got Roadrunner.
What do we call this? The
Chevy Sonic Studio.
The Chevy Sonic Studios. Yeah.
I talked about this in one of the earlier podcast episodes. As I was going through my divorce, I wrecked a motorcycle, got messed up pretty bad, came close to not making it out of that situation. And I never, ever gave a second thought to trying to end my life or anything like that. But I had days where I woke up, and luckily I had my dad, like I talked about earlier, to talk to, because I remember crying on the phone saying, I wish I didn't make it. I wish I didn't make it because everybody would be better off. And that's close enough. I don't want to get further than that. And
cognitive distortions. Those thoughts that just betray you when, I mean, I had that for years. I still struggle with it. The thing about the depression is it's a forever fight. You have to take steps every day to fight for yourself, to fight for your well-being. Because it's far too easy to just sit in the darkness all alone and think, woe is me. And it happens faster than you would believe. But again, that's where my circle, my buddies, they won't let me sit in the dark very long.
Yep.
They'll give me just enough time to recoup and rest. And then the phone starts blowing up, and then guys start showing up. It's...
Yep.
We're just not going to let it happen again. And most of the time, just takes a conversation, and it takes being honest on my side to say, I'm in my feels today. And then, the response to that usually is, when are we talking about that? Not because right then might not be the right moment, but even scheduling something with somebody to talk about later after dinner, when the kids are to bed, going to take a drive because it's nice out, windows down, whatever. But I do a lot of walk and talks with people. I enjoy walk and talks. There's a lot of freedom in just walking an easy pace in a nice park that allows for a freedom of conversation. And and some front porch sitting, man. Ain't a lot of couple rocking chairs don't fix.
And the thing too about, I think there's real power in getting outside, to be honest.
No, there's no question.
Because you are locked into an echo chamber of your own negative thoughts if you're staying isolated. What I was going through was, like I said, divorce. I was worried about seeing my kid again. Right. I wrecked my motorcycle. I cheated death. I really felt like I cheated death. And that was a scary feeling, because I felt like, man, I don't feel like I could get that close again without it taking me. And so, it's real easy to like retreat back inside of yourself. I had moved across the state of Ohio away from all of my family, for reasons I won't get into, but I had nobody around me within 100-mile radius at the time. All the friends that I had were part of my family that I was getting divorced from, and I felt like I was 100% alone. And I thought, the only person that's anywhere near me that cares about me at all is my kid, and she's not here right now. And I just feel like it would be so much easier for her if I hadn't made it out of this, which is a terrible, stupid thought.
Yeah, but it happens.
But even just getting outside and seeing that the world is still turning, even though all this crazy stuff is happening, would sometimes clear things up in my head, where I was like, okay, so the sun did come up again today, and it's a new day, and there's new opportunities. And I'm stubborn, so that would go away after a little bit, but it was a big thing. And I broke down, and this is where I always say, like, I'm not trying to push my beliefs on anybody or make people feel uncomfortable or whatever, but I personally believe that I can, talk to God in those situations. And I was back at work when I should have been back at work. I ended up going back on disability after that. They were kind of jerking me around with things, kind of trying to force me to do things that my body physically couldn't handle yet because of the damage from the accident. And
I was just thinking of your stand-up when you talk about it.
Yeah, I had a near nervous breakdown at work. I'm like, luckily by myself, because I'm sobbing. And I felt like I just prayed, God, I need you to show me something, because I need something. I used to have purpose to my life. I used to do things that felt like everything was for a reason. Now it feels like I'm just punching a clock and existing, and this is not working. And in that moment, it wasn't like I heard a booming voice or anything, but I felt like God brought it to my mind that, you're funny, and I made you that way for a reason. And, people have told you for how long that you should be a comedian, and because they always laugh when you tell jokes or you are talking publicly. I was a youth pastor for 11 years. I did a lot of public speaking, and people would tell me all the time, like, it's so funny I love when you preach or whatever, because you're so funny and you can just keep my attention, and it just really makes my day. And it was like I had an epiphany in that moment. I was like, there's so many more people in the world that feel as bad as me and worse. And if I can give them 5, 10, 15 minutes, an hour to check out of that and laugh at some stupid jokes about me being fat and stupid, then that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. And then I started stand-up comedy, and not long after that, I didn't know Chris. Someone else called me and asked if I wanted to be a part of a show. And then I talked to Chris, and he told me what Sad Team 6 was all about. And I almost started crying. Then I was like, this is why I started comedy, is because I want to pull people out of that world that's so terrible. For like, even, we're having a moment, dude. I'm about to pull that guy into my world.
So one of the most beautiful things about Sad Team 6, and I said this to another one of our teammates this weekend, I've said it to almost everybody as I've welcomed them to the team, is Sad Team 6 has needed that person. When I met them, has been in need of that person. And sometimes it was for months, and you're just like, I know the right person is coming. And it's not about finding somebody that fits right then. It's about finding somebody that really believes in this stuff, because we're dealing with human beings that are hurt, and you need to have the ability to meet them where they are. But just as Sad Team 6 needed you, there's a beauty to how much you needed from Sad Team 6 at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes us this fun little family of misfit toys,
Yeah.
Just people helping people, man. People helping people, and being funny and handsome while we do it.
Yeah. And, just one more thing that I was thinking of.
Rum. Oh, what? No, my bad.
Yeah, we're trying to get deep again.
It's going to happen again.
Yeah, I told you we're real close to Med's time.
Your screen did not freeze. His brain did. Please stand by for technical difficulties. Oh, here goes our dirt bike guy. If I could turn back time.
That was pretty impressive. I thought that was my
back your thoughts.
It's a little known talent. I have the Mitch McConnell impression. That's what I was doing there. I froze up a little bit, and I just got. Well, actually, we were talking about Sad Team 6.
You and that guy are beard bros.
Yeah,
Ginger beard bros, bro.
I mean, that was a pretty good Mitch McConnell.
That was.
So
I slept on that. Sorry, my bad.
you're good. The thing that I had thought about this along the way, and I thought I got to put this in there before the end of the podcast. Another thing of beauty with SAT Team 6 is that we're doing this for veterans and first responders. These are two things that there's a lot of overlapping, but where there's not overlapping, sometimes they don't even necessarily think of those people as like their kind of brothers in arms, if you will.
No,
and then they realize
we seclude ourselves to our own. Like cops talk to cops, firemen talk to firemen, vets talk to vets, and then even more so broken down into Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coasties, well, Space Force. I guess kind of.
And then
no intention to slight you, but like Pluto was still a planet, when you guys didn't exist.
True. And then we took that thing out.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, shattering kids' educations everywhere.
Yeah, what's up with that, Neil?
Neil. He was a really good wrestler too.
Was he?
Neil's a beast, man.
Okay.
Neil's a beast.
Dr.
Tyson.
Whatever. What I was getting at was they don't necessarily think of each other as their brothers in arms, so to speak. And then when we bring them together at these events and stuff, they realize like, oh my gosh, like we are.
Trauma doesn't care.
And the best example I can think of it with that is Etch. When Etch met you for the first time, and he after you had left, he goes, Etch was a Army vet, and he's like, I never really thought about, like firefighters and those guys kind of going through the same kind of trauma that we did, because you just don't, like, in your brain, it just doesn't naturally go there. But you have to keep in perspective, like some of the things that were the most traumatizing for, the heroes that go and fight for our country, who've lost, people close to them. They've seen horrific things, all this stuff. Your first responders, your police officers, paramedics, firefighters, these are people that are seeing, accident scenes for the first time, things like that. They're seeing a lot of tragic, traumatic things as well.
Right.
And it's really not different. It's just got a different vibe a little bit, I guess. Maybe
it each has its signature sauce, right? Is kind of the way it is, but in the end, the main recipe is the trauma. The main ingredient there is the trauma, and the more of us that talk about it and the things that are happening to our mental health, the more that things have to be done for it, the more that we can protect it with knowledge. Just teaching those coming next that, because again, it's preventing suicides. What we're trying to do ultimately here is prevent suicides, is prevent that space in between where they feel like they can't get help, where there's no help for them, where they're undeserving or unworthy of help, and get them to help. Mm-hmm. Now, the farther we can push that back, when the training programs start implementing more and more conversations about what that signed career will do to your mental health and how to protect it. Like when I came through, all they talked about was you were going to have a heart attack or you were going to have cancer, and you were probably going to get 5 to 6 years of life after your retirement. Like these are this is what they taught. But
don't let that fool you. It's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, listen, but at the same time, it is one of the greatest things I ever did with my life. I loved it. I didn't get to see it all the way through, and I'll always have regrets about that. And when I got back from the Center of Excellence, I was embarrassed to put my uniform back on. I thought, I really felt like I had embarrassed all the guys that I really loved that wore that badge, that were retired or had passed on, or I was going to run into them in a hallway. And I really felt like I just misrepresented the entire department with that. And that took a lot to get over. But I didn't ask for it. I didn't want it. It happened. And then you pick through the pile. You start working through the traumas, and each day it gets lighter. Each day it gets easier. Each day you have an opportunity to meet somebody that says something so profound, you know. Maybe it's a mafioso looking cool cat from somewhere East Coast that hits you with some of that wisdom, somebody with that goofy California draw, or just a hammer of a Cajun accent. Help is help, and brothers look out for brothers. We always have, you know, your brother from another mother, your sister from another mister. That's what it's about. You're not alone. You are not alone. And, you know, like Matt said, you can always turn back to faith. You can always find prayer again. If you haven't, give it a shot.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, honestly, when it comes to your well-being, what do you have to lose? You know, it's not a timeshare. You're not in a commitment.
Well,
it's not like a Bally's membership. You wouldn't even know about that.
Yeah, I would never.
Somebody out there laughed at that.
So I think an important thing here in what you just said even was like, you're like, I felt like I was an embarrassment to everyone else.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that the person doing the bullying in that situation was your own self.
No question.
And
Absolutely.
And I think you found in talking to other people who you felt like you were an embarrassment to, they're like, dude, we're glad that you're here.
You're alive, yeah.
And
most of them, I mean,
yeah, well, I mean, there's
always going to be those couple.
Yeah, there's a Ryan Rogers everywhere, you know, and you just gotta, but I think it's
that Ryan Rogers.
That's another important thing that Sad Team 6 is doing, is that you got a guy, you know, multi-decade veteran of, you know, firefighting, and that's been through some of the stuff that guys have been through, that's been to the dark that some of those guys are trying to stay out of, that can say, hey, it's all right to talk about it, dude. It doesn't make you a little girl or a sissy or whatever. You got a certified bad dude like Justin he's been in the poop. And
Jason,
and this is a guy who's saying, it's, dude, you can talk about it. This doesn't make you weak. This doesn't make you, you know, a failure. This doesn't make you what your brain is trying to tell you that you are. And I think that's so important to have people that have been there. Cause like, I'm an idiot. Like, I can tell people all I want, like, no, you're cool. And they're like, yeah, but you're you. Like, I don't really aspire to be a 4X t-shirt wearing weirdo that breaks toilet seats. I'm not looking to be that. So I don't really care what your opinion is. But someone who's done the same thing, who's been to the same places, who's seen the same kind of thing, saying like, no, dude, this is, you're a beast, dude. Don't give in to what the dark thoughts are saying in your head. And I think that can never be understated.
Do that.
So that's a little bit. I mean, this is just scratching the surface of Sad Team 6. And you can come on the podcast anytime you want. And I just think it's an important thing for people to find out about.
In the backseat.
We should, without a mic.
Yeah, no mic, and then a toddler seat, so he's strapped in.
And we just every once in a while, we do that thing that parents do when the kids are acting up, and they just reach back there and they start going, "Stop! Hey, I said!" And we'll just,
I'm gonna pull this car over.
Yeah, we'll just smack Ryan every once in a while.
Some Cheerios at him.
Yeah. And I think that's a good use for. The thing is with Sad Team 6, we haven't found a place for Ryan yet, because he's pretty much worthless and useless, but we're really trying. He's got experience in the mascot world. And so we're thinking if we can find a big Sad Team 6 skull outfit, we could put him inside that, and nobody would have to see him or anything at the events.
But he could get a Stitches mascot.
Yeah, there you go. And he could still be there, and he could feel like he was important, but really no one would know who he was, which is kind of how he lit. I'm kidding. Ryan.
Shots fired.
I'm kidding, Ryan.
If you weren't so creepy, Ryan, I'd hug you. But
someone likes you somewhere. I'm kidding. I'm going to see Hardy with Ryan tomorrow. Well, I'm not going there with him, but he's going to be there, and so that we're all right.
You are loved, Ryan.
Listen, it wouldn't be a Sad Team 6 outing if Ryan wasn't just bludgeoned verbally.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Sato when it comes to it. Like, he really revels. He does enjoy it.
Yeah.
Most of the time, he instigates it.
He does. He brings a lot of trouble on himself, especially in situations like we're talking about the comedy shows where he's on stage before me and he's going to open up a can of worms like that. And I've got 20 minutes to an hour to just say everything I have to say about him.
He does like to pick a stage kerfuffle.
He does. And
I once asked Ryan to go mic to mic, and he didn't take me up on that.
That'll be another podcast. We'll have a podcast that's a roast battle between you and Ryan.
I said he was hosting and he hadn't taken that offer, but I needed to get one out. And I said that Ryan looked like humanity was evolving to live underground.
So this is Ryan is not my friend part 2. We love Ryan. We're just giving Ryan a hard time. But we are going to take all those insults and make a super clip and just post that all over social media as much as
Ryan scorching.
No, we love Ryan. Ryan's great. He's doing a lot of good stuff with the organization. We just don't know what it is or haven't seen him actually do it. But he's doing good stuff.
They're untangible. They're things that can't be measured, and he does them very well.
He's the leading Magic the Gathering card player in the group, I think. And he's got a really thick Pokédex, I believe.
You know what he does really good? He takes over
Dungeons and Dragons.
He takes over a group chat like nobody else.
No, while we're on that subject, let me just throw this out here. I've been trying not to hurt anybody's feelings in the Sad Team 6 group chat. But the next boomer that comes in and likes every single text in that thread while I'm trying to do my job, and I have a phone buzz and then a watch buzz because they can't do it at the same time. For some reason, there's got to be a little bit of a delay between the watch and the phone. I'm like, who is blowing my phone up? And I look, I got 32 text messages. And what does it say?
Heart.
Someone
Thumbs up.
Reacted this to this message, then this message, then this message. So just come in there at the bottom and say, this is all great. And that's one text message. And then we're all on the same page.
I don't like group messages at all.
Me neither.
Necessary evil.
It is. And it serves a purpose, but not for willfully illiterate people like myself. So just know the more reactions that are in there, the less chance there is that I'm reading the first message, because all I'm getting is 100 100 notifications.
They come on way too fast. Yeah, they come on way too fast.
We're talking to you, Stump. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Oh, you're gonna sleep with the fishes.
We love that guy.
I love that guy.
He's a great guy. We have to have him on the podcast. I might have to drive the Chevy Sonic Studios all the way out to the coast.
I'll let you know when he's back this way. We'll get him in.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be more fun if I had just pushed this thing to its limit?
You think you want to learn about pizza, brother? Get over there.
I do want to learn about pizza.
He'll take. And listen. He can cook. His mama can cook, and they will. Like, they will cook for us.
I'm down.
Let's do that.
Stump, we're coming out there. All right. So anyway, that I think that's pretty much everything we needed to talk about. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
So go ahead and where can people find you?
Usually somewhere near Matt, lurking in his shadow.
It's a big one.
And sadteam6.com. On the social medias,
That's all spelled out, right?
Yes.
Sad Team SIX.
Yep, correct.
Okay.
And on the social medias, I'm Sad Team Chris. On the TikTok, we're live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. It's pure support. We giggle, we laugh. Matt's there a lot of the time for a visit. Come catch some of his comedy. We will, a lot of times we're sharing stories of success. Sometimes we're talking to somebody that is trying to learn about their hurt. And sometimes it's just a free-for-all of mischief. But that's where you find me. Other than that, out and about traveling, growing the non-prof.
Boom. And you can always find me here at Dude, Here's What Happened. Also all over the internet because I'm kind of a big deal, if you know what I mean. So thanks for sticking around. If you stayed in here for an hour and 20 minutes, you're a real one. Yeah. If you didn't, you'll never know that I said that I could care less about you and your stupid ears and eyes that didn't listen or watch.
It was a cool opportunity. Thanks for inviting me into your car.
You're welcome.
It was I just followed the Tootsie Rolls, and then I ended up in this interview.
Yeah. And I followed a Tootsie Roll on the highway earlier. We were talking about that. It was in a blue bag hanging from a car, recall. Which is pretty good. That's a callback. That's a good way to end it. So see you next time on Dude, Here's What Happened. Have a great day or whatever you're going to do. I don't actually do whatever you want. See ya. Dude, here's what happened.